Was Hitler right? A question that sends chills down one's spine, a query that continues to stir debates and discussions worldwide. It is a daring venture into the darkest and most terrifying chapters of human history. In this episode, we'll explore the tumultuous journey of Adolf Hitler, his rise to power, his reign of terror under the banner of Nazism, and the far-reaching consequences of his actions that reverberated across centuries. Imagine the aftermath of the First World War. Germany is a country in shambles, grappling with economic devastation and instability that threatened its very foundations. Now, into this chaotic scenario steps Adolf Hitler, a figure of compelling charisma and a visionary, whose ideas captivated an entire nation. This man's ascent to power was as swift as it was horrifying. His rise from obscurity to notoriety started in the 1920s, within the turmoil-ridden structure of the German Workers' Party. His speeches, filled to the brim with assurances of a prosperous and powerful Germany, echoed with a populace yearning for a better future. Hitler's promise of change and renewal struck a chord with the people, and they rallied behind him, fueling his meteoric rise to the apex of the political hierarchy. By the end of the decade, Hitler had successfully rebranded the German Workers' Party into the National Socialist German Workers' Party, popularly known as the Nazi Party. He was now its unchallenged leader, a position that allowed him to mold Germany as per his vision. The symbol of the Nazi Party, a stark black swastika enclosed within a white circle against a red backdrop, became an emblem that instilled fear and hate across the globe. This symbol is eerily reminiscent of the ancient swastika, a symbol that stood for prosperity and good luck in many Eastern cultures. The origins of the Nazi swastika remain a matter of contention, with numerous theories floating around. However, what is certain is that Hitler's adoption and manipulation of this symbol turned its original benign meaning into something far more malevolent and sinister. But was this symbol inspired by the ancient swastika, a symbol of well-being and good fortune in many Eastern cultures? While the origins of the Nazi swastika are disputed, Hitler's appropriation of this symbol twisted its meaning into something far more sinister. Hitler's ambition was not limited to Germany. He dreamt of a world under the rule of the Aryan race, a world where the Nazi flag would fly in every corner. His vision fueled his reign, providing a base for his megalomania. This grandiose idea envisaged a new world order, a dystopian society where the ideals of the Nazis were the only accepted norms. He dreamt of a landscape dominated by the swastika and the Aryan race, where racial purity was the ultimate goal. As this vision took hold, the gears of war started turning, leading to the outbreak of World War II. This conflict, sparked by Hitler's unquenchable thirst for power, engulfed the entire world, leaving corner untouched. The world watched in horror as nation after nation fell to the onslaught of the Nazi war machine. The world had been pushed to the edge, and the abyss of total annihilation stared back. Every battle, every bullet fired, every bomb dropped was a testament to the brutality of Hitler's vision. The conflict claimed millions of lives, brought untold suffering to the world, and set entire cities ablaze. Amidst the sparks of warfare, a grim chapter of human history was being written. The Nazis, under Hitler's directives, began experimenting on human beings in a twisted attempt to create a superior race. These experiments were nothing short of monstrous, a stark reminder of how far humanity can fall when guided by hate and fear. As World War II raged on, the tide began to turn against Hitler and his Nazi regime. The Allies, unified by their determination and the shared goal to halt the spread of totalitarianism, began to push back. The brave men and women of the Allied forces fought tirelessly, their hearts filled with the unwavering resolve to bring an end to Hitler's reign of terror. Despite the resistance, Hitler continued on his warpath, refusing to accept defeat. But the world had seen enough, and the resolve of the Allies began to bear fruit. By the spring of 1945, the situation had changed dramatically. Hitler's dream of world domination lay in ruins, and with it the Nazi regime. So, was Hitler right? The answer is an emphatic no. Hitler's regime was a symbol of devastation, resulting in immense suffering and the death of millions. His dream of a world dominated by the Aryan race was constructed on the bedrock of hatred and dread. His terrifying experiments on humans have gone down history as a chilling testament to the extent to which humanity can deteriorate when misguided by an influential leader possessing a distorted vision. His rise to power was predominantly due to his ability to exploit the anxieties and grievances of an entire nation. He manipulated people's fears into a tool for his personal gain, turning the tide of history in his direction for a period. His reign was distinguished by a frightening dream of world supremacy, horrifying human experiments, and the violent seizure of a symbol of peace, the swastika, which was transformed a sign of terror. Hitler's rule didn't just change Germany, it fundamentally altered the course of world history, becoming a benchmark of human cruelty, dictatorial power, and a case study in propaganda and mass manipulation. As we delve deeper into the rise and demise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime, we uncover tales of brutal autocracy implemented through a machinery of propaganda, intimidation, and terror. This is not just a tale of one man's rise to power, but an account of an entire nation that was led astray. His downfall, which came about as a result of the collective efforts of the Allies, signified the termination of one of the most ominous chapters in human history. Collaborative efforts led to the dismantling of Hitler's regime and the subsequent capture and punishment of many of his key operatives. It marked the beginning of justice for those who had suffered under him. In scrutinizing the ascent and descent of Hitler and the Nazi regime, we are consistently reminded of the perils of unrestrained power, the deceptive magnetism of charismatic leaders, and the urgent necessity of unity in the face of hatred and fear. The story of Hitler's rise and fall teaches us about the inherent dangers of fanatic ideologies, the potential harm of unchecked political power, and the catastrophe that befalls societies that stand by while their leaders trample on human rights and liberties. The lessons drawn from this gloomy era in history remain as pertinent today as they were in the mid-20th century, serving as a stern warning against the reiteration of such monstrosities. The atrocities during Hitler's reign are a reminder to every generation that history can repeat itself if we are not vigilant. So, was Hitler right? The answer is a resounding no.